Good evening, everybody. Thank you to another Make It With Me Monday. I'm going to be coming to you on video tonight. There's a birthday in our household, and we'll probably be busy with some birthday festivities. So I wanted to make sure that I got this done and ready for you guys. Alrighty, so let's get started tonight. We said we wanted to have a card base that's 5.5 by 8.5. Mine is going to be basic gray. We wanted a piece of designer series paper that was 1 by 4.25. Mine's going to be coming from the Peaceful Place designer series paper in the mini catalog on page 37. You need a neutral piece that's 2 3/4 square. And then you needed 2 additional pieces of cardstock that were each 3 by 3. I'm going to be using Smoky Slate and Basic Black. All right, the stamp set I'm going to be using tonight is Peaceful Deer, and it's in the mini catalog on page 26. It comes in a bundle with the matching punch, and these items will be carrying over, and in fact in the upcoming mini there will be another stamp set to match the deer punch. So something to think about going forward, that it's going to be sticking around for a while. Oopsie, there's my dimensionals flying in. Alrighty, the first thing you're going to want to do is get out your stamps and your inks and be ready to decorate your neutral piece. I'm going to be using the little snowflake images from the set and the deer itself. All right, so first I'm going to do my little snowflake images in Smoky Slate, and I want them to be a little bit lighter even, so I'm going to stamp off first, and I'm just going to run some snowflakes around the edge of my neutral piece. And when I do something like this, I do like to make sure that I stamp off the paper. It ends up looking more finished actually than if you tried to contain it all within. Alrighty, so there is that part. Then I'm going to get out my deer, and the deer has some inscriptions in it. It says, "Oh, what fun," or as part of the script that's in the middle of him. Alrighty, and I'm going to be using basic gray. I wanted to keep a very neutral color palette on this one, so these are a little bit non-traditional probably for what you might think of as a deer imagery and that sort of thing. But I wanted to keep, like I said, this very neutral palette of grays and blacks and whites. Alright, so there is my deer. Alrighty, now this part's going to be pretty simple. You are going to take, you've got your card base of course, and let's go ahead and give that a really nice score with your bone folder. Okay, now you can decide at this point what you would like if you're with your 2 colors of cardstock. One is going to go against the card base and one's going to be behind here. I'm going to mount my darker one behind the deer, and of course it's black on black so you can't quite see it there, but you'll see it in just a second. So mount that, leaving, actually I could put it over here. There we go. So leave a little bit of border around each side. It should be an even border because we just went up 1/4 inch all the way around. And then you've got your Smoky Slate piece, or I got my Smoky Slate piece. Okay, put some adhesive on the back of that, and you're gonna bump it up to the top, right about halfway, and that way these corners should reach the edge, and the tip of that diamond shape will reach the top edge of your card. Okay, now you're going to take the piece that you stamped, and we're going to lay it this direction. So you want to have, if you watch these triangles, they should all end up about even, and then you'll know that you've gotten that straight across. Okay, now the DSP strip is just to add a little bit of interest to the bottom. So you can put that as close to the bottom edge as you like, depending on where your other squares ended up. I'm going to leave just a tiny bit of gray showing. So basically kind of splitting the difference between the card edge and that point right there. Okay. And that, my friends, is it for tonight. This one was a really super easy one. Some nice even cuts. I like the, I tend to try to do my DSPs in equal inch patterns because we have a 12-inch piece across. And then these being squares, really easy to cut. All right, let me show you my stepped up version. So what I did here, let me bring it up just a little bit. I actually punched the deer out. So I stamped him on there just so I would have a reference of where to lay him down. But I stamped him again on some scrap paper and punched him out. And I added some silver epoxy shapes, and those are in the annual catalog on page 142. So the rest of it is the same, except I added dimensionals to parts of that, to underneath this layer here. So it popped up there and it's popped up on the deer. And then just a little bit of bling, and that's all I did to add for a stepped up version. So this one obviously really quick and easy to go through the mail, yet has some really nice visual interest with your designer series paper and whatever colors you chose for your squares. let me show you another version using In Symmetry. I showed you guys this one last week as well. I really like the patterns that are in this, and I like the stamp set. I used just a piece of one of the larger flowers to hit each corner. And my color palette here is Just Jade, Night of Navy, and Bumblebee. I took that right out of the colors of the designer series paper. And then I added a little bit of Bumblebee ribbon at the top. So that's just about the stepped up part of that, is I just add a little knot of ribbon. I thought that would add a little interest to that one. Okay, and lastly, I turned this on its side a little bit. I like to show you guys that you can use these pieces in different directions. So this is still 1 inch by 4 1/4, but I cut it in half. And so there's a break in between here. So you can still use the same amount. You don't have to have a full 5 1/2 inch width because you're going to cover up most of it anyway. So it's still that 1 by 4 1/4 piece. Like I said, I just cut it in half. This one I'm using Strong of Heart, which is again the fundraiser set for heart disease. And it's on page 5 of the mini catalog. I've got Highland Heather, Gorgeous Grape, and Black is my accent color. And again, I use a little bit of ribbon on it. So this is the black and white gingham that you can find in the mini catalog on page 51. And this designer series paper comes from Hand Penned, and that's in the annual catalog, page 131. So again, like I said, I used the same measurements. So neutral is the same, the squares are the same, and I just turned it a little bit on its side, played with the layout, and got a little bit of different look out of the whole thing. And then lastly, I'll show you where the inspiration for this came from. I've been going through a lot of really old card fronts and swaps that I got, so I don't even know how old this one is. But there is oh, actually, you can't see it against the black. Let me do, there we go. So the card base was black. The stamped image again is on a neutral piece, a couple different colors, and they did this really interesting thing with some wire, which we don't carry anymore. So that's where I substituted in the designer series paper, because it would have a little bit of visual interest across the bottom. All right, so there is that one. Like I said, I don't even remember how old this one is, but I thought the layout was good for a quick and simple card, which is what I pretty much like to show you guys on these Monday nights. Something that you've got already around, can do quickly and easily, and then of course can take and step up if you like. All right, everybody, there is our stuff for tonight. Enjoy, and I will see you guys again next Monday.